Saturday on BBC1, you'll be seeing stars. At 5:30, Steve Wright's guests include Tom Jones, Sean Maguire, and fresh from the desert, Guy Pearce. In the Generation Game at 6:10, the Ballet Bruce. And at 7:10, the return of the house party with special guest Roger Moore and a gotcha for Alan Lamb. At 8, Eddie's having a bad day in Casualty.
I'll have a word with the medics, but I think you better make it clear to her that the outlook's not good.
And at 9:10 in Regarding Henry, Harrison Ford plays a tough lawyer whose life is changed forever by an armed hold-up. Who needs the moon when BBC1 has the stars? Saturday night on 1.
And with more stars than the Milky Way, the Steve Wright People Show twinkles onto your telly in 15 minutes. The news and sport first on BBC1 at 5:15 with Moira Stewart.
Irish police have carried out dozens of raids on Republican hardliners in an effort to prevent breaches of the ceasefire. In Northern Ireland, John Major said there had been a quantum leap towards peace. And at his enthronement in Durham, the bishop has apologised to his new diocese. Good evening. The Prime Minister says he's made a quantum leap forward in the search for lasting peace in Northern Ireland. He ended his visit to the province this afternoon after talks with army and police commanders. They're thought to have covered ways of getting the IRA and loyalist paramilitaries to hand in their weapons. In the Irish Republic, police staged dozens of raids against Republican splinter groups seen as a threat to the ceasefire. Mr Major flew home after another walk through the streets, meeting the people in Lisbon, County Antrim.
The reception John Major got in Lisburn, where there's a unionist majority, was warm, but not quite as enthusiastic as he received in a nationalist town yesterday. He'd begun the day discussing security matters over breakfast with the RUC Chief Constable and the top army officer in the province. The Prime Minister was in bullish mood when asked whether his enthusiasm was waning for the complicated process ahead.
Yesterday was a quantum leap forward, and it provides a basis from which we can move forward even further. There's no question of the thing losing momentum at the moment. It's not going to be easy. We have never promised it would be easy. We have never guaranteed that it would be successful. What we have done is move this process further than anyone believed possible 12 months ago. There is a spirit of hope out there, right across Northern Ireland, that you haven't seen since you were in short trousers.
Lisburn's in the constituency of the Ulster Unionist leader James Molyneux. He says Mr Major's announcements yesterday were very constructive, but he thinks London and Dublin are having problems in agreeing the joint framework document which will be the basis for the talks. The Prime Minister flew home at lunchtime to get ready for Monday's summit at Chequers with the Irish Prime Minister Albert Reynolds, where the framework document will be top of the agenda. In the Irish Republic, several hundred police officers have been involved in a massive search and arrest operation aimed at breakaway Republican groups. A number of people have been taken in for questioning. Irish police want to ensure that no splinter group does anything to break the IRA and loyalist ceasefires, because that could jeopardise the entire peace process. George Eakin, BBC News, Belfast.
Conservative officials in Beaconsfield have met to discuss whether or not their MP, Tim Smith, should stand down. Mr Smith resigned from the government on Thursday after admitting being paid for raising questions in the Commons. After the meeting, the local party chairman said there'd been great disappointment over what had happened, but Mr Smith should not resign his seat.
Beaconsfield Conservatives made it clear they weren't happy with the circumstances which led to the departure from government of their MP, and that deselection was on the agenda. They met for 2.5 hours and decided that as there was no suggestion of illegality, there was no reason why Mr Smith should not continue to represent the constituency. But their statement did not exactly amount to a ringing endorsement.
Our feedback from members and electors has been extensive, but is by no means complete. We recognise that there is a great disappointment over what has happened. Time must now be taken to allow an opportunity for mature reflection.
With the allegations and events of the past days barely digested, the intervention of a former party chairman who was holding an advice surgery in his constituency this morning appears less than helpful. In an attempt to deflect attention onto Labour, Sir Norman Fowler suggested an independent investigation of MPs' outside interests.
The point is not to have an investigation of individual cases. That's going on in any event. It is a general examination, a general inquiry into outside interests, not just directorships, but also the sponsorship by trade unions.
If Sir Norman's talking about the publication of donations to political parties, we already publish our accounts, so should the Conservatives. And if he's supporting an open inquiry so far as the Cash for Questions row is concerned, we agree, and so should the Prime Minister.
The suggestion of an independent investigation reflects the anxiety of senior Tories, but the new chairman has already dismissed the idea, and the party's struggle to regain composure has yet to get off the ground. Richard Bailey, BBC News.
Police have named the two men shot dead yesterday in South London. They were 59-year-old Michael McCormack from Ewell in Surrey and John Peter Ogden of New Malden, who was 34. They were shot at close range by a man who'd been waiting for them at a sandwich bar in Balham. He escaped in a white car that was later found burnt out a few miles away. The new Bishop of Durham, who was convicted of gross indecency 26 years ago, has apologised at his enthronement in Durham Cathedral. The Right Reverend Michael Turnbull told his congregation that people had a right to be shocked by what had happened, and he was deeply sorry. 2 gay rights protesters were arrested during a demonstration outside the cathedral.
With the enthronement of its 70th bishop, beginning with a solemn procession, traditional since the 11th century, Durham might have hoped for a rest from controversy.
Turnbull is a hypocrite! Sack the bishop now!
Protesters shouted hypocrite because the bishop had disapproved of actively homosexual clergy while himself having a conviction for gross indecency with a man. The gay rights leader Peter Tatchell was arrested. The bishop maintains he's never been homosexual but was guilty of an isolated moral lapse for which he has repented and been forgiven. After his ceremonial entry to the cathedral, Michael Turnbull made a dramatic apology to his church.
I have been through a private and now public process of repentance. I am deeply sorry that so many friends, and especially new friends in this diocese, have shared some of the consequences.
Michael Turnbull has held a series of meetings in the past week to reassure fellow clerics, some 10% of whom, according to one Durham Synod spokesman, had opposed his enthronement. Criticisms even come from the local church which the bishop himself attends.
I believe his position at the moment is untenable. And I'm afraid that parishioners, their overwhelming opinion in Bishop Auckland is that he should resign.
Questions linger over whether the commission which appointed Michael Turnbull was informed of his past, but the church in Durham is now rallying behind its new bishop. Andrew Burrows, BBC News.
Tomorrow's big boxing promotion in Hong Kong that included fights involving Britain's Frank Bruno, Herbie Hyde and Billy Schwer have been postponed because of financial problems. The fight promoters failed to come up with prize money guarantees, and the boxers' managers are now threatening legal action.
There's a breach of contract on behalf of Billy Schwer and Frank Bruno, and they have got to reschedule both those fights. In addition, they've got to pay substantial damages.
And that's it for now. There's news and sport on BBC2 at 7 o'clock, and the late news on 1 tonight, 10 to 9.
Good evening. There's been some pretty nasty weather out there today. Some very heavy thundery showers and also some strong and squally winds, and we can expect more of that tomorrow. If we take a look at the afternoon weather radar, you can see where most of the heavy showers have been in the south and also in the west. And we can also have a look at where the majority of the thunderstorms have been as well. Now I think we'll see a lot of that thunder disappearing overnight as the showers become more scattered and lighter in nature, but by the end of the night another batch of thunderstorms will be moving up across the English Channel. And it is going to be a rather cloudy night across Scotland. There'll be some more heavy rain there. But with strong winds, at least we won't get any fog, and temperatures should hold up fairly well. So tomorrow, more of those heavy showers, some of them merging to give some longer spells of rain, also the chance of some thunder. And the showers will eventually push up into southern parts of Scotland, the north of Scotland, staying rather cloudy through the day. It's going to feel a little bit colder in the south tomorrow, but do remember, you've got an extra hour in bed. That's it. Bye-bye.
They call him the man with the golden highlights. Is anyone licensed to take him on?
I'm on my way to Bottom. Crinkly Bottom.
This is BBC1 Southwest, and now Spotlight News and Sport with Roger Clark.
Good evening. Plymouth Argyle win a 6-goal thriller. Success too for Torquay United, but Exeter City and Tiverton Town both lose out to late equalisers. All the sport after the day's news. A full review of security at the Verne prison in Dorset is being demanded after the escape of a convicted murderer. He got away from a prison officer whilst on a shopping trip in Weymouth.
The escape happened in the centre of Weymouth after convicted murderer Brian Wright was allowed out of the Verne jail on Portland with a prison officer escort. The 51-year-old had served 27 years of a life sentence.
To allow a convicted prisoner, a convicted killer, to go into town with a warder and just let him do a runner, I think is absolutely disgraceful.
Police searching for the escaped prisoner say he should not be approached by members of the public.
He can be violent. I would ask them to dial 999 immediately and let us know.
A few hours before the convicted murderer got away in Weymouth, 3 inmates escaped from the Young Offenders Institution at Portland. 2 of them have been recaptured. The other is still on the run.
A man's been released without charge after being questioned about a serious sexual assault in Totnes. It's alleged a woman was attacked in a pub toilet late on Thursday evening. Inquiries are continuing. To the sport now, and the writing looked to be on the wall for Plymouth Argyle this afternoon when they conceded a goal just 29 seconds into the match. But the Pilgrims produced a spirited fight back to beat high flyers Stockport County, as Ian Chisnell reports.
Plymouth, despite having keeper Alan Nichols sent off and Keith Hill stretchered off, won in style 4-2 at Stockport. Argyle were behind after just 29 seconds, Martin Chaw giving County the lead. But 2 goals in 5 minutes sent Plymouth in 2-1 ahead at the break. Mark Edworthy and substitute Danny O'Hagan the scorers. When Richard Landon grabbed a scrappy but precious third, it looked all over. Kevin Francis dragged County back. Then came the drama of the sending off before Landon clinched a memorable win. Stockport County 2, Plymouth Argyle 4.
Ian Chisnell reporting there. Well, Torquay United recorded their second league win on the trot this afternoon with a 4-1 victory over Rochdale. Gregory Goodridge was the hero for the goals with their first and last goals. Kevin Hodges and Ian Hathaway were Torquay's other scorers. Well, no shortage of excitement either at St James's Park. Exeter City versus Scunthorpe United.